Chapter 7. The Bonfire of Me. I was back at my house. I was sitting in a chair at the dining table with my father and mother. The kitchen was bathed in the golden light cast by a lantern. It was a calm, lovely evening outside. We were having a decent conversation while eating dinner. "How is the vegetable cooked?" my mother asked my father. "Nice, but it needs some spice," my father replied. "I have already added enough." "Too much would be bad for your health," my mother said. My father nodded while chewing on his food. "How was your day at work?" my mother asked. "Quite busy I was today. Too many orders to fulfill. Finished one today that I had been working on for 2 days. Most customers are okay, but some just don't have patience. They want their things ready in a day. I mean, I would have no problem fulfilling their orders, but God has granted me only 2 hands, my father replied. My mother nodded. Today, a customer came with an order of 15 swords, 5 pikes, and 3 shields. He said he needed the order to be ready by tomorrow. This kind of big order would take at least a week. I tried to explain to him, but he was stubborn and refused to understand. I would be paid handsomely, he said, and strode out of the workshop. My father said, "Can you finish it by tomorrow?" "The order?" my mother asked. "Not a chance. I would need 10 extra men working in my shop for that to happen," my father replied. "I can help you, father," I said. "Son, this kind of work needs practice, and you haven't had enough of it. Why don't you continue to practice making that knife?" my father said to me. "I've already melted and forged that knife 6 times already. I am tired of it. I want to take on a real order now and help you," I said. "You will start to take a real order and help me, son, but there is still some time. You need some more practice. I see that your knife is getting better with every forge. Soon it will be perfect, and when that happens, you will receive your first order," my father said with a warm smile. "Okay, father. Tomorrow I will work hard and continue to improve my knife." "Can't wait to take a real order," I said enthusiastically. "Now that's my son," my father said to me with encouragement. All of us continued to eat our dinner with small talk here and there. We had finished our dinner, and my father and I were sitting in chairs in front of the fireplace. My mother was cleaning the dishes. We were silently watching the fire. The wood was making a cracking sound. Then my father broke the silence and said, "Your cousin's sisters are coming here tomorrow to visit you from their village. I got the letter yesterday in the forge." I almost stood from the chair with the excitement of the news. I had 5 cousin sisters who lived in a village far north. They were the daughters of my mother's brother, who was my uncle. "That is great, father. I have not seen them in months," I said excitedly. "They will be here by dusk tomorrow," my father said. "Will they stay here for a few days? I want to spend more time with them. Last time when they were here, they left on the following day." I asked, "Why don't you ask them yourself? Tell them to spend a few days here. They will probably listen to you," my father suggested. "Okay, I will," I replied. "Go then. Tell this news to your mother." "She doesn't know of this," my father said. I sprang to my feet and rushed to my mother. "Mother, guess what? Who is coming tomorrow?" I said. "Who did?" my mother asked. "My sisters." I replied. "Well, that's great news. It has been a long time since they were here last time," my mother said. I was so happy that I started to jump with joy while saying, "My sisters are coming to meet me again and again." "Stop that, dear. You will twist your ankle or something," my mother said. I obeyed my mother and went back to my chair in front of the hearth. "Tomorrow, before returning to the house, we will go to the cake shop and buy some cakes. Your sisters like them a lot, right?" my father asked. I nodded. "Father, there's one thing," I said. "Sure, son," my father said. "Can I stay at home and not go to the workshop for a few days while my sisters are here? They will leave shortly, and I want to spend a lot of time with them," I requested. "Sure, son. There is no problem in that," my father said. "Thank you, father," I said. We sat on the chairs for some time, warming our bones in front of the fire. After half an hour or so, strange events started to happen. It all started with a light earthquake. I looked at my father, but he seemed calm in his chair. My father must have observed an alarm on my face, because he then said, "No need to fear, son. It's just a little earthquake." Gradually, The earthquake intensified. Unable to cage my fear, I turned to my father and suggested moving out of the house in case the quake collapsed it. My father agreed and said, "Okay, son, go call your mother." I nodded and went into the kitchen. After not finding her there, I said, "Mother's not here." "Then go check upstairs. She may have gone to the upper floor," came the voice of my father. "Okay," I said and quickly climbed the stairs. Upon reaching the first floor, I checked both rooms, but she was nowhere to be found. The quake had reached its peak and was shaking the house like a toy, ready to collapse it at any moment. "Where are you, Mother?" I said to myself. I hastily climbed down the stairs and reached the ground floor. I wanted to tell my father of this, but to my dismay, he had disappeared too. His chair lay empty there in front of the fireplace. Father, where are you?" I called out. The house was shaking furiously now. After looking for him for a few seconds, I gave up. Maybe they have already headed out. The house is probably not going to hold on for long. I must get out too and join them outside, I said to myself. I was now on my way to the front door, hoping that I would make it out before it was too late. I finally reached the front door and was now ready to swing it open, but something completely unexpected was waiting. When I opened the door, my jaw dropped at the sight that was before me. How is it possible? I said to myself in utter horror. Outside, there was no land to step onto. Everything had become dark purple of nothing like I had seen when I had been stuck on the bridge with that spider-headed monster. There was no sky, land, or anything, only the dark purple of the void for as far as my eyes could see. The house seemed to be floating in empty space. If there is no land, then how come the house is shaking? I asked myself in confusion. Whatever it is that is creating these quakes will surely bring down the whole house, I said. I had to move out of this house, but where will I go? If I stepped out of the door, I would be falling into the endless depth of empty space. But if I stayed in the house, the roof would crash down on me and kill me. What do I do? What do I do? I said again and again. And where were my parents? What happened to them? I surely couldn't leave them. My mind was swirling with confusion. I had no idea what to do next. I was stuck in a place where every direction led to a bad thing. Then suddenly, a loud sound came from the kitchen. The ceiling there had just collapsed. Soon, the ceiling of the area I was standing in started to creak, suggesting that it would collapse at any moment. I made a decision and chose a less immediate worse. No sooner the ceiling had crashed than I jumped outside the door and into that abyss. It was very close. A second late, and I would have been crushed under the rubble. I fell furiously. My body was being pulled down with great force. As I fell, I saw the house ascend upwards. The space around me was so empty that if it wasn't for the house, I would have no idea that I was falling. Soon, the house became a spot before vanishing entirely. I was falling and falling into the bottomless depth. Then, after many hours, my eyes opened wearily. I saw a tall man wearing a hood drag me by my legs. The sound of a flowing river was coming to my ears. My eyelids had become heavy and closed again. When my eyes opened again, the man was gone. That dark, purple void had gone too, and everything had returned to normal. Now, I could see the land, the trees, the sky, everything again. I didn't know how long I had been in that limbo, but I was out of that now. I slowly sat up and observed my surroundings, trying to get my bearings. I was a few meters away from a river. I then suddenly remembered what had just happened. I had been in a battle with that monster on the bridge. After defeating it, I was carried away by a wave. The man in the hood must have saved me from drowning. But who was he? He looked like the man who had been there at the front door of my house, the man who had asked for some food. Could he be him? The area where I was looked completely unknown to me. At my left flowed a river, and to my right lay a dense forest. I had two choices. I could either follow the river ahead and see where it went, or enter the woods to my right and face the unknown. After thinking for some time, I reached a decision. I had decided to follow the river. So, slowly, I struggled to my feet and started heading ahead along the river. For an hour I walked, but I saw no sign of any village or man. The rain had stopped completely, and the sky looked to be clear. It was night, but the moonlight illuminated my way. I stopped after some distance and washed my face with the running water of the river. The current in it had calmed, and it was no danger going in it. The water looked clean, so I quenched my thirst with it. After a few minutes, I continued following the river. I walked on, but I found nothing, only the river to my left and the woods to my right. Then something struck my mind. It is very strange. Long has passed since dusk. Why is the sun not up by now? I asked and brooded over it for some time. Then, in the distance, I saw that there was no land. The river had just stopped abruptly ahead. When I got closer to the edge, I observed in the moonlight that it was a waterfall. I reached the edge and had a look down. About 80 meters below lay a huge, monstrous body of water. The water was ahead in all three directions, as far as my eyes could see. It almost looked like an ocean. The water of the river was cascading into the ocean with noise. At each of both of my sides was a line of the edge of the land I was standing on. The whole scene looked very unnatural. I quickly stepped back a few paces from the edge, sat on the bank of the river, and gazed at the stars above. This ends here. Now what? I asked myself. Jumping was not an option to be considered. All I could do now was to enter the woods. Should have chosen the woods instead of the river in the first place, I said. I stood up and walked back for a few minutes, trying to get away from the brink. When I had put enough distance between me and the brink, I turned to my right and entered the woods. It looked to be a very dense forest. I used my knife to cut away the vines and vegetation blocking my way. I continued to walk on, my legs ready to give up. After some time, I entered the clearing. The clearing was so large that my whole house could fit into it. I slowly walked to the middle of it while observing the huge trees around me. When I reached, my legs gave up, and I collapsed. I lay there on my back watching the sky. Soon, the silence was broken by strange voices. The voices were women. "Meat! We have fresh meat," a voice said. "Lord Satan will be pleased," another voice said. "Fresh meat, fresh meat." Throng voices repeated again and again. Unable to stay conscious, I closed my eyes slowly. I didn't know how much time passed, but when my consciousness returned, I started to hear chants all around me. They were in a language I didn't recognize. After a while, slowly, I opened my eyes and beheld a terrifying scene. My hands and legs were tied to a wooden stake. Twigs and pieces of wood surrounded me. Before me stood almost 3 dozen undead women. Their faces were of utter horror. They looked completely burnt. Their eyes were black with no white in them. All of them had a pair of sharp dagger-like teeth jutting out from within their upper lips. Each of them wore a black robe, covering the whole grotesque body. Some of them were looking up in the sky and chanting something terrible, while some were shaking violently as if going through seizures. The one standing nearest to me held a lit torch. It didn't take long for me to reckon what was happening. I was being sacrificed to Satan by these undead women. Soon, they would torch this bonfire of me and incinerate me alive.